Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Wednesday. It's Q Day, September 17th, 2025. Oh my goodness, what a way to start the day. It's been so wonderful. A lot happens in a week, yeah? Thanks so much for joining us on santasurfing.locals.com. We had such a heartfelt live yesterday. Oh, it just really ripped the heartstrings out of us, and we just ended up all just knowing that we have a purpose in our lives, right? If you want to find all of my videos, again, right now I am doing daily shows on YouTube. They are the full podcast, and then I'm doing just very condensed versions only twice a week on Rumble. Eventually, I'll be not posting on Rumble in the first week of October. And then these are all these social medias. The reason I say that is because there are a lot of posers out there. So please make sure you can verify these things. Yeah. Today was an incredible morning because President Trump, he and Melania Trump, they both arrived last night in the UK. And today was oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. Their royal welcome to Windsor Castle. Interesting, they weren't going to Buckingham Palace, but they were going to Windsor Castle. Trump's highest honor in the UK and world events that leads to GESARA, because I kind of want to show some other things that had happened this past year, just enlightening you on how big of a role President and Melania Trump have. Get yourself nice and comfy because I want to cover quite a few events. President Trump, he is listening to the people, not just here in America, but all around the world. With the horrifying, heartbreaking events that happened last week, the passing of Charlie Kirk and what followed, we're witnessing the good people around the world uniting, wanting a purpose to fulfill. Now, in the UK, I'm just showing one picture of this. There's so many others. There in the UK, they had well over 3 million people took to the streets. They're protesting the tyrannical government. And this was on Saturday, the 13th. Look at this crowd. And if you see the aerials, it's just absolutely massive. And they were also honoring Charlie Kirk. In Ireland, this is back in June in Ireland, and what was going on about the corrupt government and the thousands of Irish people protesting as far as you could see. So you can click on these links. It will take you to the videos itself. Austria on the 16th, this is demonstration about their illegal aliens or illegal migration that's taking place in Austria. And they want to they want to start deporting and getting those illegals out of their country. In Germany, and this is in May, and then this is in September. Again, they are fighting to get the people that don't belong there, to get them off, to get them back. And they're also fighting for the tyrannical governments that were going on. On August 31st, Victoria Byrne, she posted, there are Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Brisbane that had protests. And again, they are tired. There were well over 500,000 people that took to the streets about 2 weeks ago in Australia. So they're demanding the re-migration policies, meaning they would want to deport all of their illegals and their migrants, yeah? In South Korea, they honored Charlie Kirk, so they had demonstrations out on Saturday the 13th, and then they even set up a memorial as well for Charlie Kirk. It's just incredible how one man is changing the lives of so many people around the world. Now, remember last week I had a podcast on what was going on in Nepal. Their corrupt government. Now, this is all because of Gen Zers. The Gen Zers, they were exposing the corrupt government. They were tired of the corrupt government showing their lavish lifestyle while the people were suffering and are suffering in poverty. And they were tired, and then they are tired of it, so they were posting it on social media. And then it was because the government didn't want that truth to get out, they went ahead and shut down the social media. So Gen Z, they went to the streets, and then they ended up overturning their corrupt government. And then now it has an interim, but they have an interim prime minister. First world leader elected via Discord. Come on, Discord, you make a vote, you put your votes in, has been sworn in as Nepal's interim prime minister after Gen Z overthrew the government. That's an interesting way to vote, right? But again, it's just temporary, it's just interim. And then what I also heard is Conor McGregor in Ireland. He is not going to be running for president. It's all leading to what I'm going to share with you now. I also want to kind of highlight some things that Stephen Miller said because it's going to tie into the events that perhaps could happen after today or in the coming days. Stephen Miller was very outraged. Charlie Kirk, when Charlie was going out there and talking about God and really reaching out to the younger generation, Stephen Miller had established a friendship with Charlie. He's known Charlie for 10 years now. And he's outraged by the rhetoric that was going on, the very, very horrible rhetoric that was going on. So this is what Stephen Miller has talked about, and this is what he said over the weekend. Check this out.
And let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his Creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us. And we are going to do that under President Trump's leadership. I don't care how. It could be a RICO charge, a conspiracy charge, conspiracy against the United States, insurrection, but we are going to do what it takes to dismantle the organizations and the entities that are fomenting riots, that are doxing, that are trying to inspire terrorism, and that are committing acts of wanton violence. It has to stop. And my message is to all of the domestic terrorists in this country spreading this evil hate, you want us to live in fear? We will not live in fear, but you will live in exile. Because the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership will be used to find you, will be used to take away your money, take away your power, and if you've broken the law, to take away your freedom, Sean.
Now that is dynamic, and you know Stephen Miller means business. These are statements coming from the Trump team, not from Congress, where we have to sit and wait for months until, the cows fly or whatever. This is Trump's team that's taking action. Now, when Stephen Miller was talking about these people that are, do they know that perhaps they're going to be committing domestic terrorist attacks? So I had reached out to President Trump when this happened I believe it was on Wednesday morning, and it was the day after the passing of Charlie Kirk. And I had reached out and asked President Trump, is there any way that we the people, can get protection? I'm talking about you. I'm just talking about people that are putting out the truth and sharing stuff that we find out there. And is exactly everything that Stephen Miller is mentioning in here is exactly what I addressed in my message to President Trump. Now, I want to thank you, White Hats. I want to thank you, President Trump team. If you're listening to this podcast, I want to thank you so much for hearing our voices. You're hearing the voices not just here in America, but also around the world. But I think this is incredibly important for what is to come. Then Marco Rubio made a comment as well. And here he's addressing those that hold visas or are applying for a visa. Listen to this very carefully, because I think some people in the MAGA movement got this a little mistaken. So please listen to it very carefully.
We are not in the business of inviting people to visit our country who are going to be involved in negative and destructive behavior. Okay, so why should, if we invite someone to visit the United States of America as a student, as a tourist, as whatever, then they have the standard they should be held to is very high. We shouldn't be bringing people into this country. We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're already here, we should be revoking their visa. We are not.
Well, I think about Charlie Kirk. You're a foreigner and you're out just celebrating the assassination of someone who was speaking somewhere. I mean, we don't want you. Why would we want to give a visa to someone who thinks it's good that someone was murdered in the public square? It's common sense to me. We revoke visas of people. I don't know. We revoke visas of people that are inside the country. We're most certainly been denying visas. I mean, think about it. I want everybody to think about this for a moment. Okay? You're out there celebrating the assassination in cold blood of someone. And then you want to come in. Why would we want anything like that in our country as a tourist, as anything? We don't want to live here.
Okay, the second part of Marco Rubio's clip, he didn't say Charlie Kirk. He only mentioned him once, but he was saying of someone So now, in my humble opinion, you decide, in my humble opinion, he is addressing you. He's addressing me. He's addressing patriotic podcasters that are doing God's work. He's addressing those people that are doing what they can to get the message out there. Now, we're so used to getting censored and suspended, and now it's the other way around. Anybody who's inciting any domestic terrorist threats. Terroristic threats are death threats, are threats on your life, are threats upon doing some harm to you, inciting something to you. There are people out there right now that are inciting violence, a lot of violence, not just to an individual, but to a group of people, specifically MAGA. And I think that is horrifying. The rhetoric, the hate and rhetoric. Now that tells me, and maybe you're thinking, okay, where's this leading? Where's Santa going with this? Let me just go. I'm going to just scroll through a simple list of what's going on. There are 53 separate issues that have been revealed by the DOJ and the FBI. And these are, if you look at the far left of the spreadsheet, some of them have two, like Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud, and then treason. They knowingly committed treason by releasing classified documents. You got all these big names, right? You think about this. You got all these big names that are going out there. They're doing these really, really bad things. Letitia's got 3 different things here. Lisa Cook. Okay, so you got all of these names and incidents that are going on right now. This is just the short list. This doesn't include the long list. So what happens when this all breaks, right? What happens when they start to say, okay, we're going to start taking some action on this? What will happen to the conservatives? And how the backlash, right? So they're protecting you. So why am I sharing this? Because what happened today was absolutely magnificent. This is a video here about President Trump talking about taking the criminal thugs that are not illegals, that they have committed multiple crimes, and that he will send them to another country to see how they like it. So you can go ahead and click on that link. And then, of course, President Trump, through El Donato account, posted, I hope Antifa speaks Spanish, excuse me. I hope Antifa speaks Spanish. So that tells me, are they going to be going to El Salvador CCOT? Now, the reason I say that is because I'm already getting backlash on this post, which is fine, because it's telling me that something is going on, something is in the works. President Trump, he had an incredible royal entrance. He arrived late last night, and both Melania and President Trump were wearing coats. Now, Melania Trump does not normally do that. And here this morning, they are being escorted to Windsor Castle on the gold coach, the royal carriages. Now, I had posted this on X. It has not been community noted because there's a lot of liberals going in there, and of course they're slamming as much as they can. But look at, this is the first coach, the first carriage, royal carriage, and in this carriage is President Trump and Charles. I'm not going to say King Charles because you'll see in a moment how, oh my goodness, it's really, really eye-opening. Now, during this time, they're playing patriotic music and Let Freedom Ring. This I find incredible and very powerful because you don't see other leaders of a nation that enter and go to the UK. There's President Trump. Okay. Let me just go back a little bit. You don't see other royal leaders that have this kind of royal reception. And somebody had remarked on, is this the same carriage that Princess Di and Charles were in when they got married? And I thought, I'm not too sure. But President Trump is there with Charles. Now, Melania and I'm going to say Queen Melania and Camilla, they were in a different carriage. And then you had William and Kate in a separate carriage as well. Now, President Trump, again, this is a moment you want to just capture, take a screenshot, do what you need to do, guys, because we are witnessing history in the making. Now, this is really where it gets... Again, we may get the pushback. So this is why, are they trying to protect us early on and say what they need to say? Because this right here is, many liberals are losing their minds by some of the commentary being made by patriotic people like myself or MAGA movement or you that's going out there and discussing this. This is the golden royal carriage. This is, some people are saying, no, it's not. No, it's not. Well, I haven't been community noted. So, okay. I did a little research before I posted this. This is President Trump, and he's in the carriage with Charles. I'm not saying King Charles. He's in the carriage with Charles. This is something you don't see as a warm welcome for any state leader coming to the UK, right? I don't think I've ever seen anybody getting this kind of treatment. And it's the traditional, I mean, God, think about this. The traditional, you've got the horses, you've got the guardsmen, you've got the carriages, and Melania and Camilla, there they are in a different carriage, and then you had Kate and William in a different carriage. But the treatment and just the kind of pageantry of the Trump president, or I will say their highness, our president Trump and Melania Trump entering into, let's just say, the UK's, well, I'll just say the UK for right now. Now, as they enter in, and they entered into Windsor Castle, they didn't go to Buckingham Palace. Now, again, we know there's a lot of renovations going on at Buckingham, but they went to Windsor Castle. And here they are. They're just standing there. Now, there's blue. Melania's wearing black, but she's wearing a purple hat. Okay, so I just want to kind of flash back a little bit here. She's wearing, the hat is purple. President Trump's wearing a purple tie. I'll get to that in a moment. And they played nothing but patriotic American music. It was incredible. All right, now I'm going to show you some other things now. Because it certainly seems like a coronation event. Now, and I'll share some information that I had done some research on. Remember Dan Scavino's post last week on the 10th of September. He posted something at 11:32 p.m. You do a search at 11:32. There's about 6 or 7 posts that pop up, but this one in particular stood out. Congratulations, UK patriots. Independence is a beautiful thing. Globalism dead? Question mark Q. Is that why Melania wore black, right? Now, again, and Dan Scavino's post was 9/10/2025, turning point. How awesome is that? Yeah. Then the gold stagecoach. It's reserved for use by the sovereign, and is only used by the sovereign, and is brought out for the most significant royal occasions due to its age, value, and historical importance. Hear me out on this, guys. It has been used in every coronation since its completion. I copied that from a search. Okay. The royal carriage is only used for the British royal family. It is not used for private guests. There it is. You can read that right there. Not used for private guests. Their Highness, our President Trump, is seated in this gold state carriage or coach. How awesome is that? Okay, so there you have that about, because I was asking, can anybody go in the royal carriage? No. For an outsider to walk in front of a king during a military guard inspection is absolutely forbidden. Here we have President Trump. He's being escorted by Charles, and watch Charles' hand gestures. President Trump meets the guardsmen. Charles intentionally steps behind and back. Now, the liberals are coming in and they're saying, well, that's normal. It's not normal. Those of you that live in the UK, you were the ones that enlightened me on this years ago when this happened with Queen Elizabeth. So here you have the guardsmen walking with President Trump. And then here he is. President Trump is looking and inspecting the military guardsmen while Charles is behind him. How incredible is this? Well, we saw this back in 2018, but is this more of a ceremonial visit, right? Was 2017, 2018 more of a let's get it done, sign the paperwork, get everything done, transferred, and then is 2025 the absolute, it's the celebration of President Trump's coronation as the new leader. Again, those of you that live in the UK, you can go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but this to me is really a huge sign of President Trump taking the reign. President and Melania Trump are exiting Air Force One last night, and this is what President Trump through Il Donato posted. The king and queen are here. Okay, now he posted that before when he went to Saudi Arabia, Dubai, the UAE, yeah? They're both wearing overcoats. Melania is coming out with a trench coat. The last time I saw someone wearing a trench coat recently is Ed Martin in front of Letitia James' property as he is investigating the mortgage fraud. Again, she's coming out in a trench coat. I think of Columbo. I think of investigation. I think of a storm. Is that a raincoat as well? Is there a storm brewing? But this is also another dive, and this came from Jax. Could their coats mean coats before D-class? Right, we're seeing a lot of these. Now, I know we've been waiting for D-class. We've been seeing declassifications, haven't we? We haven't seen anything done with them, though. I mean, come on. Tulsi Gabbard, she comes out there in June, and she says there is treasonous conspiracy between Obama, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, and she declassified it. She showed it to the public, but there hasn't been anything that has been done right now as of yet. So with all that list I showed you about 15 minutes ago, all those crimes committed, is this what's going to be happening? Is there going to be a storm brewing? She's wearing like a storm coat. Melania doesn't have that kind of image in the public eye, right? I showed about what the 3 million patriots coming out. Now, I just want to remind you, remember, in Saudi Arabia. I know I'm jumping back and forth, but I did want to kind of give you some friendly reminders on some of these things. And if you're new to the movement, you'll understand. In Saudi Arabia, it is forbidden for anyone to to touch the crown prince. Physical contact. You cannot touch, you cannot approach, you cannot tap. Look at this. Trump does this. Kind of like, and then the smile that the prince has when he's looking back to find out who it is that's touching him, he has this big old smile. So, and then here he broke protocol. The prince broke protocol. He walked on the tarmac, initiated contact with President Trump, because again, they know that President Trump is their excellency. And I know it's hard for you to swallow and hard for you to grasp, but it is true. Now you've got the military in Saudi Arabia that they're greeting and saluting President Trump while the prince is standing next to President Trump. They're not saluting the prince. They're saluting President Trump. And look at the faces that they have. They look very, very excited. Guys, we are it's just so wonderful. How big is this? We have a joint U.S. and U.K. flyover of F-35s and red arrows atop POTUS and FLOTUS and their majesties at Windsor Castle, which I would say the majesties are President Trump and Melania Trump. But look at this. Oh, this is so dynamic. And how cool is that? Uniting the two nations with a flyover for President and Melania Trump's welcome. Yeah. And then we have both visits, President Trump in 2018 here with Elizabeth, and then here with Camilla. They're both wearing blue, right? Light blue. This is so amazing. In the UK, light blue symbolizes tranquility, dignity, and decorum, similar to broader Western cultural meanings associated with peace, serenity, and reliability. It evokes a sense of calm, similar or to the gentle vastness of the morning sky of clear water. The term baby blue is also used in the UK to describe this very light shade of blue. Now, the general meanings are tranquility and peace. Now we have Yorkshire Lass who posted, and I'll just show this here. Let me just show you. Again, we have a lot of patriots from the UK, and you might just be doing the Sammy dance right now, yeah? But here we have, she wrote, the true Queen Melania, who is wearing black with a purple hat. President Trump was wearing a purple tie. That signifies royalty, and the black would signify the death of globalism, the death of their monarchy, the death of the monarchy that controls the 33 nations, the UK and 33 nations, those in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, you have got to be so excited. This is a thread, if you want to take a look at it. It's about Queen Melania's role and how significant it is. President Trump and Melania Trump, their role is going to be very clear in the coming months over time. The visit to the UK is just much more than a state visit. It actually appears to be a coronation. If you want to go ahead and read here, you just click on this image. It'll take you to that full thread on Melania, the Queen of Romanov. But I did want to show you this. The Queen, Romanov, they ended up having, it was just a horrible, just massacre that happened on on the royal family, and then their jewels got taken from them and it was sold off. And rather than England returning it back to the people of Romanov, no, they went ahead and wore it and flaunted it to let the whole world, we are in control, but now they aren't flaunting these jewels anymore. And I will say this is really, truly President and Melania's Trump's sweet revenge, if you will, because now Melania will get her rights back. Remember, back in, I love these moments when he was in Saudi Arabia. Well, you talk about love and just how they just really treated President Trump with so much just respect, and it was just a royal visit. But how he had the royal escort with the Saudi Arabia, just the escort they got was just for royalty. It was phenomenal. So you have the royal escort here, you have the royal escort going on in the UK. Come on, tell me, have you ever seen any of this with any other world leader going to any of these nations? No. And President Trump, through his El Donato account, he posted this back in March 14th. The real king is here, and look at this. Well, this is in Dubai, and he was getting welcomed to go to a dinner. I mean, again, look at the escort and look at the honor that he is getting from the Middle Eastern nations. The Crown Prince and President Trump, they have a very special bond. And the Crown Prince, again, can you imagine President Trump having to negotiate with all these world leaders to say, I want to roll out GESARA. It's not just going to be great for you. It's going to be great for the people in your country. And they are finally saying, yes, absolutely. President Trump, through El Donato, then posted this last night. Nothing's going to stop us now. Nothing. And here they are wearing coats, not a pretty dress and a nice suit. They're wearing coats again. Many comms. So we are going to start seeing a lot of proof. Somebody had posted also about Maggie for Justice, or Gallon Mem posted dresses in royal purple, his tie and her hat. So there again, royalty. If you search for September 17th deltas, this comes up. I know it's dated March 3rd, but this right down here, it says, POTUS already ordered the D-class per Q proof September 17th. And this is what the message is. Q proof. Proofs are important. Q. We're seeing so many Q proofs going on now, right? So and then now we're seeing other ones where it says panic in DC. We're seeing a lot of that now. 4 of them just all side by side. September 17th deltas, panic in DC, panic in DC, panic in DC, DC. So it's going to be lit. Remember, God's got the whole world in his hands, and he did not create the world so that it would turn out to be full of hate and anger. He created the world so that it would be nurturing, loving, and just prosperous, right? So we're going to start seeing some things. We're not going to see it right away. Those of you in the UK, you might be saying, well, how come I don't see any action now because we're still struggling? Please know, those in the UK and other countries, other nations, the rollout does take time. Optics are important. So we may have a few more months of optics, but know that the foundation, what President Trump is showing you, what Melania Trump is showing you, that the foundation is already in place, and it's just a matter of time before that unveils. And how it gets unveiled, I have no idea. But I will say this, that God just wants you to be living in a world that's full of peace, of harmony, and love, and light. And I think it's just incredible what President Trump is doing right now, and I thank you and I thank God so much for giving us the strength to fight, the courage to know that we have a government that has we the people, our backs. And please know, for those of you in different countries, remember President Trump did say he can be there, his military can be there within less than 24 hours. So do know that he's got he's got his eyes on taking care of everyone around the world. So let's see what happens. God bless you abundantly. Have yourselves a very, very beautiful day, afternoon, evening, and just enjoy these moments. We are truly witnessing history in the making, and it is going to be biblical. God bless you abundantly, and I will have a show very, very soon. Aloha.